Ladies and gentlemen, just yesterday afternoon, America's largest welfare recipient, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, stepped up to the podium and made one thing painfully clear. There is no end in sight for the ongoing war in Ukraine, but more importantly, he doesn't even want one. That's right. At a press conference that could only be described as a masterclass in entitlement, arrogance, and delusion, Zelenskyy went on point by point, shutting down every possible path towards peace, all while demanding more of our money for free. Now, folks, we've got a lot to talk about today, so let's start by walking through everything that was said at this absolutely pathetic spectacle of a press conference. First up, Zelenskyy refused to acknowledge that the support that we've given him, hundreds of billions of dollars, needs to be repaid. You see, he claims all of that support was a charitable donation rather than a loan. According to him, all of that cash, all of that military equipment, and all of that diplomatic support was really just a friendly little gift courtesy of the American people. But you know what's the most insulting part about all of this is that he never actually had the guts to say any of this before taking the support. No, he waited until we were too deep in the hole, then he changed the narrative entirely. And now he's saying he will never agree to any future peace agreements if they involve repaying the United States for anything, not past support, not future support, nothing. In fact, according to Zelenskyy, unless we keep pumping out billions of dollars in aid free of charge, he's not even willing to show up to the negotiating table. Let me repeat that. No peace talks, no ceasefire, no end of the war unless America agrees to keep on funneling billions of dollars into Ukraine with no strings attached. But you know what? It actually gets even worse. You see, President Trump, in his typical business-savvy fashion, actually offered Zelenskyy a solution. If Ukraine isn't going to pay us back in cash, at least let us recoup some of our investment through a mineral deal. After all, Ukraine sits on a gold mine of lithium, rare earth metals, and natural gas. Seems fair, right? We help Ukraine fight their war, they help us balance our books afterwards. That's a pretty decent deal. But Zelenskyy, he slammed the door shut. He called President Trump's plan an insult to Ukraine's sovereignty, a sovereignty that wouldn't even exist without the support of America. But when it comes to grabbing bags of cash from American taxpayers, he's more than happy to undermine the sovereignty of Ukraine. Oh, and by the way, do you know who has made deals with Zelenskyy, giving him support with the expectation of being paid back? The European Union. That's right, much of the aid that Ukraine has received from Europe has been structured as loans, which Zelenskyy has gladly accepted. So just to be very clear, Europe is going to get repaid, America is going to get stiffed. That's not just bad diplomacy, that's blatant disrespect. And then, just when you think this couldn't get any more ridiculous, Zelenskyy threw another wrench into the peace process. You see, Zelenskyy just flat out refuses to sit down and negotiate with Vladimir Putin, saying he'll only negotiate with Russia if someone else is representing them. And even then, on top of that, he also said that he's only going to agree to peace talks with Russia if he's given assurances that Ukraine will get accepted into the European Union and NATO. So folks, just to recap all of this, in order for Zelenskyy to actually work towards peace, to work towards ending this war, we have to agree to not being repaid, we have to agree to not having a mineral deal, we have to agree to give him billions of dollars more in aid with no strings attached, and we have to get him membership in the European Union and NATO. And then on top of all of that, he refuses to actually directly negotiate with the guy who's in charge of Russia. Folks, Zelenskyy is very clearly not a man that is seeking peace. This is not a leader that's looking out for his people. This is a stubborn, power-hungry dictator prolonging a war for political gain with American taxpayers footing the bill. And you know what? Let's just call this entire situation what it is. This is a betrayal. America has poured hundreds of billions of dollars into Ukraine. We've armed them, we've protected them diplomatically, we've stood by them on the world stage. And so after all of that, how does Zelenskyy repay us? By spitting in our face and refusing to help end this war. He acts like we owe him, as if the hard-earned dollars of the American taxpayer are just monopoly money that he's entitled to for some reason. This man has absolutely zero gratitude and even less integrity. And you know what? Let's all remember something important here. This entire situation is a really good reminder of why we all put President Trump back in the White House. Because here's the truth, under the leadership of Joe Biden and the Democrats, America was treated like the world's ATM. Foreign leaders walked all over us, we handed out free money with absolutely zero oversight, and guess what? We got absolutely nothing in return. But now that era is over. Under President Trump, America first means no more free rides. And you know what? If Zelenskyy doesn't like it, that's just too bad. He can figure it out on his own. He can run his war with his own money, or Europe's money, because it sure as hell isn't coming from us anymore. But you know what, folks? After Zelenskyy's press conference yesterday, this is what we know for a fact. Zelenskyy has absolutely no intention of ever repaying the United States. He's deliberately prolonging this war, putting hundreds of thousands of lives at risk. He's rejected every single reasonable compromise, including President Trump's mineral deal. He's demanding billions of dollars more in American taxpayer money and offering absolutely nothing in return. And he's doing all of this while ruling over Ukraine like a dictator, having canceled elections and banned every single man age 18 to 65 from leaving the country. Folks, here's the reality. Zelenskyy has been exploiting the goodwill of the American people for years, laughing in our face while doing so. So hey, you know what? Here's my personal message to President Trump. On behalf of millions of American people, thank you for shutting off the spigot, thank you for standing firm, and thank you for reminding the world that this country answers to the American people, not to some corrupt puppet in a war zone halfway around the world that really we should have nothing to do with. The American people have overwhelmingly decided that we don't want our taxpayer money funding never-ending foreign wars anymore. We want the wars to come to an end, we want the peace deals to be made, and we want our money being spent here in America to improve the lives of Americans. And I know that concept is absolutely outlandish to the Democrats, putting Americans first, but that is exactly why we all voted for President Trump, and that is exactly what's going to happen. But you know what? Here's the real final takeaway. Every single day, we pray that this war comes to an end, because as things currently stand right now, lives are being lost completely unnecessarily. And you know what? Here's the truth. Right now, President Trump is the only leader in the world that actually has a plan to make the killing stop. So like I said a moment ago, let's all pray that the killing does actually stop. Now, folks, before we wrap up with today's video, I want to say real quick that I've actually gone ahead and made a community Facebook page where I'll be posting additional news and updates as it relates to all of this stuff. So, hey, if you guys use Facebook, check out the pinned comment down below and give that page a follow. But everyone, that is going to be a wrap for today's video, so please go down below and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this. Please like the video while you're down there. Please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help a ton with my daily struggle against the YouTube algorithm. Thank you all very much for tuning in today, and of course, as always, stay safe.